What is happening, everybody? Hello and welcome. In today's video, we're revisiting Noah Kahan with the album Stick Season. Well, I've actually already reacted to the Noah Kahan Stick Season album. It's available here right now on Patreon, but today we're going to be doing the extended version. It's called We'll All Be Here Forever, and it's a collection of songs, maybe 8 or 9 tracks, which we're all going to do. And I've been meaning to get to this one for a while, but I've been sidetracked by other stuff, so I apologize for the delay, but today we're finally doing it. But I do have some questions. I do have some concerns because, well, initially, Stick Season really wasn't what I was expecting out of an album. I know this is not his first album, but it was his first album to really go mainstream. And I'm assuming it was a lot of people's first introductions to this guy. And for a first introduction, that initial handshake with people, it was quite vulnerable. It was very introspective, and it really gave us a broad picture of who this guy was. Not only just like the fabrications and the things you kind of do to make yourself look better and everything, like it was a real harsh look inward. And I respect that and appreciated that with the album. But it felt like after listening to the Stick Season album, I felt like I understood this guy like on a more fundamental level of just like what he was thinking about, what was actually going through his head, what was a real emotion from dealing with each situation that he dealt with. It's very poetically driven. Anyway, so I'm wondering like, what are these handful of tracks? What are they going to be about? Because Stick Season to me seems fairly linear, feels fairly cohesive. It feels like it wraps up pretty nicely. So what else does he need to say? What else is he going to say? What else is he feeling? And I guess we're going to find out right now with We'll All Be Here Forever. So let's pull it up and let's get right on into it. First track is Your Needs, My Needs. I think I got everything lined up. All right, perfect. Here we go. I need to turn this up a little bit.
Oh well, who was I? Who was I to watch you wilt? You ain't gotta tell me what it means. Trace the outlines of your dreams. You'll always be a flower on my skin. And the pain that I am in, it's all the same. The losing touch, the waiting game. Cross that county line, I promise to be there this time. Alright. You were a work of art. That's the hardest part. Thin like dogs in the light of the moon, holding our breath after 1:32. You asked me why I wasn't saying a word. I'm naming the stars in the sky after you. I was a work of art. That's the hardest part. Spiral out, to try and fold, to see a friend, to see it goes. Bitter brained, always drunk, rail thin, so lost. Subtle change, shorter days, dead away. Your life, your dreams, your mind, your needs, my needs. Your needs, my needs. Spiral, try and flow. See a friend, see it goes, see it goes, see it goes, see it goes.
Okay, we open up a little bit of a bang here. Started very softly, very folksy, but quickly opened up into this somewhat bluesy rock tune here. Very massive sound. You know, that reminds me, and hopefully you'll remind me, I really need to check this guy out live. If there's like a good live performance of him performing, I mean, there's got to be at this point, with really good audio quality. I would be very interested in seeing that. So maybe that's the next thing I'll do with Noah Kahan is check out like a live performance. So please share any links you have to that so I can do that one next if you're interested in seeing it. But I just want to see it myself anyway. All right, let's just talk about it. Your needs, my needs. Again, it's very vulnerable. It's very brutal. It's an honest look inward, and it's a celebration of gray. You know what I really appreciate about this is it's the unraveling of a relationship, and it's from the perspective of him and the hurt that it caused and how he viewed himself after the relationship and dealing with his own personal struggles. But at the same time, too, it's not that stupid cliche of, oh, you wronged me and now I'm doing this and you hurt me so much and you're such a bad person. Like, Noah doesn't seem to write from that angle. He seems to really take accountability for some of his own actions and express them honestly, which is something I really appreciate. So this song really is just telling, at least on first listen, it's telling me the effects of the ending of this relationship and what it means to him. And I like how he's starting off right away, basically saying that she's a work of art. And that was the hardest part. Like, he obviously deeply cares for this person. It's a flower on his skin, and he was watching her wilt. And like, so there's cool little metaphors in there as well. But there's a sense that he really celebrated this person and he really loved this person, whether he was able to hold on to her or push her away. Like, it's leaning towards the relationship did end and he was just watching her wilt by being with him. So that's what I mean, like a real true, honest look inward. He talks about those kind of things, not necessarily just painting her in a bad light, like really just taking 10 steps back and being like, whoa, what the fuck was that? Maybe he's talking about some broken promises. Maybe the stars in the key after you. I was a work of art, probably alluring to the fact that he was a work of art when he was with her, and like he just see the relationship as them being this beautiful thing together. And this is where he really starts to talk about the issues of what happened after the relationship. And it's beautiful imagery, wonderfully metaphorically presented, spiraling out and trying to float. Like, I'm sure we've all been in relationships that have come to an end, and like, just try to remember the feeling, the loss of all of that. Like, once you know the relationship is over, you're never going to connect with that person on an emotional or physical level ever again. A piece of you truly dies. And it's like, I try and think back about like relationships that I was involved in and once they died and everything. And the honest reality of it is like a piece of you dies as well. Like, a part of your personality is gone. It's a segment of your life. And maybe you can look at it back in hindsight and be like, well, maybe I've just grown and I'm a different person now. But the reality is something mentally happens to us where like that part of our life literally dies. You know, I mean, just try and think about like yourself in a previous relationship and the person that you were and how you changed after, like what steps you took after that and to move on and what you needed to do to cope. So speaking of cope, it sounds like that's exactly what he's trying to do right here. He's trying to see a friend. And when I mentioned that a piece of you dies, he keeps talking about seeing a ghost. And I think that's about him seeing his own reflection. That's about him saying, I see this person, but this person is dead now. Like, the facial features, like the feelings and everything, it's all there. And I feel very current in this situation, but it's obvious something has died here. And he's turning to some substance, which he's talked about in the past before. And I know that this guy's struggled with alcohol, and also, you know, he has some issues with depression and he's on some medications. So he's basically kind of reeling. He's spiraling, as he says. So the days get shorter, the seasons are changing. He's dead-eyed. Like, and at the end of the day, like, as things are progressing and as he's like stewing in the loss of this relationship, like, he's trying to think back, trying to cope with what was the cause of all this. Was it just because of you needed something that I didn't need? it's about both of the needs, But yeah, he's spiraling he's trying to see a friend. He's trying to, but all he sees is a ghost because he sees this part of his life as truly being over. So, yeah, this is truly like just the aftermath of the emotion of a major part of your life coming to its endpoint. And yeah, I think it's wonderfully written. It's dramatic. Vocally, this is awesome. Again, I really want to see stuff like this live because he really projects, you know, and I like the general structure and the build of all of this. It starts off so meek and so quiet. And when it finally does build, it builds in a warm, emotive, and like emotional way that just feels, I don't know, something like I resonate with. You know, it doesn't peak or anything. There's no crazy production. There's no weird synthetics or anything that kind of come in that's like, well, what the fuck is that? You know, it feels sonically and lyrically like it's all coming from a very raw place, which feels more authentic. Very cool, though. Your needs, my needs. Let's check out what's next.
I'm remembering, I promise to forget you now. But it's raining and I'm calling drunk.
Oh, no.
And my medicine is drowning your perspective out. So I ain't taking any fault. Am I honest still? Am I half the man I used to be? I doubt it, forget about it, whatever.
No.
So the same anyways. I ain't proud of all the punches that I've thrown in the name of someone I no longer know. For the shame of being young, drunk and alone. Traffic lights and the transmitter radio. I don't like it when they threw me in the car. I gave your name as my emergency phone call, honey.
Is he getting arrested?
Ring and ring, even the cops thought you were wrong for hanging up. I died drunk, I died drunk, I died for you.
It's clever.
I'm untethering from the parts of me you'd recognize. From charming to alarming in seconds. I'll
like
be
that.
bedridden, I'll let the pain metastasize. But that's morning, I'll forget it. And the dial tone is all I have. I ain't proud of all the punches that I've thrown in the name of someone I no longer know. For the shame of being young, drunk and alone. Traffic lights and the transmitter radio. I don't like it when they threw me in the car. I gave your name as my emergency phone call, honey. Yeah. Ring and ring, even the cops thought you were wrong for hanging up. I died drunk, I died drunk, I died for you. I died for you. Beg you, sir, to slip a call. I'll give you my blood alcohol, or off with all the burnouts in the cell. Change my faith, I'll praise the flag. 'Cause wait, I swear she'll call me back. Son, are you a danger to yourself?
Oh, my God.
Fuck that, sir, just let me call. I'll give you my blood alcohol. I'll rob with all the burnouts in the cell. Change my faith, I'll kiss the bass. Wait, I swear she'll call me back. Son, why do you do this to yourself? And I said, I ain't proud of all the punches that I've thrown in the name of someone I no longer know. For the shame of being young, drunk, and alone. Traffic lights in the transmitter radio. I don't like it when they threw me in the car. I gave your name as my emergency phone call, honey. Yeah. Ring and ring, even the cops thought you were wrong for hanging up. I died drunk, I died drunk, I died for you.
Okay, that is some good writing right there. We get some real world building. I don't know about you guys the first time you heard this song, but like as the song is playing out, like I see a movie playing in my head. I was a little confused in the beginning. I'm like, oh, is he just getting drunk and calling her? But no, that's not the story that's playing out here. The story that seems to be playing out is that he's gotten arrested for drunk driving, and then he's possibly talking about the spiral that led up to that, maybe some self-destructive behavior, and then the idea of being in jail or be thrown in a car and everything, and then being in a cell, and him coming to like these desperate terms, being stuck in this isolation, saying the one person he just wants to call to figure all this out is possibly the girl that he was talking about in the previous song that would have just ended. And when he called her, like, she just like hung up, and she's like, no. And even the cop was like, ooh, that's cold. But after a while, like, he was pleading with the police officers. He's saying, I'll do whatever, I'll praise the flag, I'll kiss your badge, I'll rot in the cell with everybody. And the cops had like this moment where they like looked at him like, why are you doing this to yourself? It's kind of self-destructive behavior. Like, you're already in a bad position. You need like to find somebody that loves you and actually cares about you right now. And not to say that this girl didn't love him or care about him, but they were at a heavy point in the ending of their relationship where like she just didn't want to be brought back into the madness. She's trying to separate herself from that. She has to heal and, heal on her own, and who's to say what that process looks like? And, the endings of relationships often aren't very pleasant things. And from everything we know from Noah and how these relationships ended, it didn't seem like it ended on good terms. It just ended in a place of desperation, isolation, and self-destruction. And I don't think she could see that anymore. I don't think she could destruct anymore. So like, I don't hear about this kind of story and think of the girl as like this, cold-hearted bitch or whatever. I think of her as like, she's dealing with her own thing as well. If Noah cared for her this much, chances are this girl cared for Noah for a while as well, but she just couldn't, slowly die herself. She needed to move on. She needed to get out of this situation. And this is just the fact of life, the celebration of gray, which Noah is great at. But yeah, some real nice world building right here. Like, I was immediately immersed by this. Now, that's not to say like there's like this weird contrast thing happening, because this feels kind of celebratory, doesn't it? This feels like a kind of like almost like a party song where if like you didn't pay attention to lyrics and you were just focusing on the melodies and everything, and you heard those gang vocal chants and everything, you'd think, hey, this would be kind of a cool little bar song. But in reality, it's about slipping. It's that spiral out of control. Great vocal chops in this one as well. Great projection and everything. I like the banjo, very, very folksy. The double tempo on the drums is very cool. But my main takeaway is the world building, like the transmitter radio, the lights being thrown into that car. He doesn't directly tell you what kind of car it is. You have to put together that, like, why is there a radio in this car? And then finally the cops are saying, why are you doing this to yourself? And like the story eventually comes to life. It's just very well written. Yeah, this is a great song. This is really cool. It sounds positive. It sounds celebratory. It sounds like a good time. But in reality, this is what seems to be a low point in his life, And I can only imagine from his perspective, losing her. He's obviously spiraling. He's obviously abusing substances. He's doing whatever he can to feel good. And now he's like at this rock bottom point where like he's in real trouble with the law. And the one person he still wants to reach out to is the one person that wants nothing to do with him. So it's like this, I don't know. It's like this self-fulfilling destructive prophecy that he's kind of playing out. But when you're drunk or you're under the influence of shit, like you're not thinking clearly. You're just thinking what you want. And the pleading of it all too, of him saying like, I'll praise this. I'll do whatever I need to do to get this person back. Like he's so concerned with the ending of this relationship. It's had such a dramatic impact on him. The fact that he's even in this cell under arrest in legal trouble, like he doesn't care. He'll live out his days as a burnout. He just wants to fix this thing with this girl. So like he's still reeling. He's still spiraling. He's still doing all the things he's talked about. Really kind of sad, but presented and packaged in a sonically what appears to be pleasing way. Very cool. Dial Drunk. That's a good one. Next one's Paul Revere, huh?
Counting line, I'm counting down. Mailboxes until my house. This place had a heartbeat in its day. Vale bought the mountains and nothing was the same. Yes, the boys are drunk, the sun is high. Their license plates live free or die. But it
Hamsters.
just ain't that simple. It never was.
No.
We'll drink to New Year's, then they'll leave me to clean up. One day I'm gonna cut it clear. Ride like Paul Revere, and when they ask me who I am, I'll say I'm not from around here. I'll leave before the road crews out, before those joggers looking way too proud. And I'll turn up the music, and I'll forget until it ends that I'm not ready to let go yet. One day I'm gonna cut it clear. Ride like Paul Revere, and when they ask me who I am, I'll just pretend I didn't hear. It's typical, I fear. Folks just disappear, and when they ask me who I am, I say I'm not from around here. I'll say I'm not from around here. But I'm in my car, and I see the yard, the patch of grass where we buried the dog. And the world makes sense behind the chain link fence. If I could leave, I would have already left. But I'm in my car, and I see the yard, and the patch of grass where we buried the dog. And the world makes sense behind a chain link fence. If I could leave, I would have already left. I would have already left.
Lots of tension points in this one, huh? Okay, Paul Revere. Pretty cool little jam here. Definitely a little bit sad. I mean, and by the end, like, oh, all right, well, we'll talk about it from the beginning here. Like, at first, he's celebrating the idea of being like Paul Revere and riding free and getting out of his hometown. But he's having struggles doing that, obviously, because he's lived in this place his entire life. The inanimate objects of his life, the house, like the burial and everything, like he's given them all like personalities. Like he's been with them for so long that he holds on to them and loves them in almost in a agoraphobic kind of way, where like he's afraid to leave. He wants to leave. He wants to get out of there. But like the chain link fence has personality. The house has a heartbeat. Like everything around him is so familiar and isn't exactly comforting to him, but it's like familiar to him on a place that's like, it feels almost like family, not just like home. We've known for a while that he's wanted to escape, that he's wanted to get out of this small town, that he's wanted to expand, that he wants to get away from all the traumas that he's forced to deal with and see every day. You know, I mean, that's a problem, like small town living and everything. If you just stay there and you live there and you die there, like you're constantly reminded of your mistakes and your trials and your errors and everything. But on the flip side, you know, you also have your best moments there as well. But sometimes even like seeing like old places where you've stayed or lived or whatever, it can be kind of sad. I don't know if you guys have ever like, I don't know, like driven past a home that you used to live in or something, and like it feels kind of familiar, but it feels wrong, and there's something kind of sad about it. Like I would only imagine like it would be almost even more difficult just to like be in that same place every single day and be like, wow, I'm still here, and that's where my grandfather was, and that's where my father was, and that's where the dog used to play, and now it lives out in the dirt. Like, I don't know. It's not an experience I've exactly lived through myself. I mean, I've lived in the same area most of my life. I mean, kind of. Like, I pretty much lived in the same 50-mile radius my entire life. But, I mean, not like in one specific small town with the townies and stuff. So I get it to some degree, but what's interesting to me is like the character development of the house, the dog, the fence, the car, all these things. Like they have like emotional weight and almost personalities to them. And even as he's expressing, like, I'm going to fly, I'm going to get out of here, I'm going to celebrate this life of flight, like Paul Revere, of moving on, and I'm going to be a stranger, and I'm going to possibly be in a city watching people jog by, and people think they know me. I'm just going to be able to fit in like a stranger. You know, he's celebrating the idea, and he's like, but he doesn't have conviction while he's saying it. Like, this is honestly one of the most vocally beautiful songs that he's done so far out of these 3 tracks, and they've all been really nice, but I enjoyed the falsetto and the shifted dynamics here. But even as he's saying these things, there's a certain hesitation, there's a certain tension, not only from his vocals, but from sonically what's happening in the string section, that is alluding to the fact that, like, even though he's saying all of this and like it sounds like it's conviction because those are the words, it's not until we get to the end of the song where he's like, well, if I could have left, I would have already left. So I'm stuck here. So like, that's where it all starts coming back into play. And you're like, oh shit, even though he was saying those words, when you think about it, there really wasn't much conviction. And as he's talking about celebrating being a stranger in a new place, like he's also celebrating the things that have happened to him and like the characters of these inanimate objects, of these, you know, that he sees. And I think a lot of that comes down to isolation, you know, just being alone for a very long time. You tend to look at things a little bit differently. You tend to almost give things like personalities and whatnot. Like I spent a lot of time alone in this room, you know, like that's kind of my job. And like sometimes I walk by it and I'll just look at it, and this room has a certain feeling to it. I'm like, oh, it's almost like when I go in there, it steps into like a different person or whatever. I don't know. I would imagine it would be similar to that, but with everything else in your life. But to be constantly reminded of your mistakes, to be constantly stuck in this isolation of familiarity, like it's got to be tough. And I think that's the story that he's telling. And again, he's talking about his friends coming and going. He mentions the live free or die license plates, which is, if you don't know, New Hampshire's kind of slogan. It's probably like the most badass license plate ever. Live free or die. I like how he kind of talks about the contradiction of that, saying it never really goes like that, but it's definitely a cool slogan. But yeah, great tension points. Sonically, it's beautiful. I love the slow kind of like scratching of the stringed instruments, the violin, I'm assuming, and maybe a touch of cello. As it builds, you know, like there's so many tension points. Like it's building, it feels like it's festering, and like with the words that he's saying, you start to think, well, maybe there is some conviction to this. Maybe he is going to move on. But that's not what this song is about. This song is about him thinking these things and saying them and trying to like manifest this journey that he wants to take. But in the back of his mind, in his heart of hearts, he knows that he's just lying to himself at this point, because if he could have left, he would have already done it. So it's kind of sad. But yeah, great tension points. Vocally, this is fantastic. And again, really cool story building. Let's move on to the next one. No Complaints.
Thought I had something, and that's the same as having something. I get mad at nothing, blame my dad for something. I pull no punches, then feel bad for months. Thought I was raised better, tried to fake better, tried to blame weather and escape better. Hope the skin heals where the pain enters. But I finally got showed up. I said a time then I showed up. Now the weight of the world ain't so bad. I saw the end, it looks just like the middle. Got a paper and pen and a page with no space. I filled the hole in my head with prescription medication and forgot how to cry. Who am I to complain? And now the pain's different, it still exists, it just escapes different. and invades vision, makes the rain different, makes the news boring, and my rage distant. Yes, I'm young and living dreams, in love with being noticed and afraid of being seen. But I can finally eat and I can fall asleep. It's fine, fine, fine. I finally got soda, set a time the night showed up, and now the weight of the world ain't that bad. I saw the end, didn't look just like the middle. Got a paper and pen and a page with no space. I filled the hole in my head with prescription medication and forgot how to cry. Who am I? Who am I to complain? To complain. To complain. I saw the end, didn't look just like the middle. I got a paper and pen, but I can't feel the pain. I filled the hole in my head with prescription medication and forgot how to cry. Who am I to complain?
No complaints. God damn it, dude. Well, this one's pretty heavy, huh? I don't know. I got some hot takes on this one, honestly. It's not going to be for everybody. It's not. I mean, I think it's pretty black and white what this is about, or maybe not. Maybe this is just what I'm seeing. But I think this is about him finally finding some medications and the effects of those medications on him, and him seeing the world in a different place. And it can be dangerous. It can be great for some people. Some people just need the medications, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that if that's like something you truly feel like betters your life. But in my experience, and this is just hyper focused on me, hyper focused on my specific experience, like when I take these medications for like my issues with depression and everything like that, like it makes certain things better. It makes certain things manageable. You're not as emotional. You're not as manic about certain situations. The lows aren't as low, but the highs will never come close to where the top should be. It always just feels kind of like the middle, you know, and that's what my issue with these medications is it cuts out some of the pain, but it makes you numb to everything else. And in every, like, I've always made my money by being creative in some way, shape, or form. Music, whatever the case, whatever I was doing, it's always been creative. That's how I've made my money, always. When I'm on those medications, I can't think. Everything just becomes blah. Everything just becomes, oh, that's sad. You know, there's no inflections on any of the emotions. Everything is just as numb as it possibly can be. And to me, what this sounds like is him taking these medications and filling that hole in his brain with prescription medications, like he said, and him saying, well, how can I complain? Because those low lows aren't there anymore. So I should be happy. I'm not getting to that point. But in my experience, and this is not advice for everybody, trust me, I know, it's just my situation. But in my experience, sometimes it's just better to tough it out and be down low, down bad for a couple of weeks and just know you have to push through it, because that's just how your brain works. That's just like chemically how you were made. And yeah, it's fucked up and there's an imbalance and there's something wrong 100%. But the medications, they numb too much for me. And I think that's what he's experiencing right now. You know, he's trying to fake it. He's trying to be like, well, can I truly be happy, or am I just at this medium level all the time? And you don't truly feel any real beauty. It's like that saying, like, you can't feel, you know, you can't have like the greatest love without the greatest hate, or no, not that one, the greatest pain without the greatest love, or whatever. Like, you need contrast, you need up and downs, you need swing emotions. And as crazy and as manic as they sometimes can be, I feel like instead of trying to band-aid the whole thing and just, you know, water it all down, sometimes for some people, it's just better to fucking power through if you're able to. And yeah, some of the lows get real fucking dark, man. They get real fucking dark. And you get to a point where you're like, God damn, what is happening here? And I understand that's where like medication comes into play and like it becomes important for a lot of people. And I probably should be on meds. I probably should be. I totally get it. But like, I know in my heart of hearts, like I've got a wife and people to support and things like that. So like, if I didn't, I'd probably just be gone. But like, I know that I have to at least do that. So I can't just fucking take the easy route out. You know what I mean? But I understand like not everybody has that and they need to have something to fill up the holes in their brains, you know? So I guess it's a double-edged sword, but like it does, man, it wears on you. And you start to ask yourself the questions like, if I'm not in my low lows anymore, if I'm not at this point of like absolute desperation, like why can't I truly be happy? Like, what is all of this? Why do I just feel like the same every single day? And I think like for some people, it just psychologically fucks you up. It fucked me up, you know, for as long as I was on these medications. I was like, you're just numb. You don't feel like doing anything, you know? So it's kind of like you're a little bit depressed all the time, but you never get really depressed, but you also never get really happy. So it's like the trade-off sometimes just doesn't make sense. And I think that's what he's reeling with here. He forgot how to cry. He forgot to have his low lows. He's like, well, I'm not at this point. Is this better? Should I have any complaints? And that's what this song feels like to me. And again, everybody's situation is totally different. Don't take medical advice from a fucking YouTuber. But like, it's something to think about for yourself, you know? It's something to think about. Like, if you think that you can live that way without it, and you think that you'll be okay enough to survive, and you think it's worth it to feel the high highs, then like, maybe think about it. Talk to your doctor about it. But they'll tell you to take the medication anyway because they get fucking kickbacks from it. I don't know. Just think about it. Make your own decisions. But for me, it's not worth it, you know? But I know for a lot of people, like it just works. If something clicks with them and it's like, nope, this medication takes all my problems away. And like, I can totally deal with this. So like nobody's chemicals are the same, but I recognize this train of thought for sure. You know, this train of like, I'm better, but like, why am I not better? Kind of thing. Anyway, beautiful song.
Oh, you spy, but then
Call your mom. Jesus Christ, this fucking dude is gonna break me. Maybe this is why I didn't do Noah Khan for a while. Like, you gotta like, all right, let's just do it.
moment right before it ends, you're most afraid of. But don't you cancel any plans, 'cause I won't let you get the chance to never make them. Stayed on the line with you the entire night till you let it out and let it in. Don't let this darkness fool you. All lights turned off can be turned on. I'll drive all night. I'll call your mom. Oh dear, don't be discouraged. I've been exactly where you are. I'll drive all night. I'll call your mom. I'll call your mom. Waiting room, no place to stand. His greatest fears and ringing hands in the loudest silence. If you could see yourself like this, if you could see yourself like this, you'd have never tried it. Stayed on the line with you the entire night till you told me that you had to go. Don't let this darkness fool you. All lights turned off your soul to Jesus. Throw a punch, fall in love, give yourself a reason. Don't wanna drive another mile, wondering if you're breathing. So won't you stay, won't you stay, won't you stay with me? Medicate, meditate, save your soul for Jesus. Throw a punch, fall in love, give yourself a reason. Don't wanna drive another mile without knowing you're breathing. So won't you stay, won't you stay, won't you stay with me? Don't let this darkness fool you. All lights turned off can be turned on. I'll drive all night. I'll call your mom. Oh dear, don't be discouraged. I've been exactly where you are. I'll drive all night. I'll call your mom. I'll call your mom.
Well, shit. Call your mom. Well, first off, that is some great advice. Call your mom. She fucking misses you. Trust me. This appears to be fairly layered. I was a little confused going through as to what or who he was talking to in the car, what was happening. But I think, again, like most Noah Kahan songs, like you don't exactly realize what's happening until you get towards the end of the song, and then it all starts to make sense. And like that waiting room you're standing in, you know, tends to kind of come to life. You start to think about what exactly is in that room and why is there no sitting space, like, you know, I guess it's kind of, it's written like a book, you know, so it's great storytelling. So starting off with him obviously spiraling again, going through some issues. I feel like this might be kind of like a prelude to the relationship ending and him possibly going through some kind of episode and, you know, just getting, you know, down pretty bad, and them going to a place to possibly help him out a little bit, and him just trying to find some solace and like this person trying to help him. You know, that's the main story of what this is like he's in a bad place and he's speaking about somebody that truly loves him and wants to help him. And I think there's a couple people here. I think he's talking about being in the car and going to this place to get help with possibly his girlfriend that he broke up with. And she's just trying to like say, don't worry, everybody gets to this point, and like trying to build him up and, trying to be positive for him and everything, and bring him to a place of like some kind of comfort, and even saying like, I'll call your mom. And it seems like even the shift tonally, vocally, when he moves into like that almost like falsettic projection, it feels like he's almost even talking to her at that point. Maybe not. Maybe he's talking from the perspective of the girlfriend or whoever he's with. But I kind of got that vibe as well. And I think sometimes you just need that. You need that. I mean, unconditional love it's an odd thing. It's an odd thing to even think that truly exists, you know? Like, especially nowadays where everything is so polarizing and everyone's picking sides and we're all just at each other's throats and trying to one-up each other all the time, you know? And as competitive and as shocking and as outrageous as everyday life can be, thinking about the idea and the concept of just unconditional love is kind of a wild thought. You're not always gonna have unconditional love. That's not always going to be there. At some point, you're going to lose unconditional love. So while you have it, you have to celebrate it. And like, I have kind of an odd relationship with my mother. I put that woman through fucking hell. I did. For a long time. I just disappeared for a while. I disappeared from everybody. And I was so afraid to call her. I was so afraid just to like reach back out again you know, and because it'd been so long. But when I did, I was met with that unconditional, instantly forgiving love. And I was blown away by it, you know, because I know that she grieved me. I know a lot of people grieved me. But it was a lot of people that grieved me, you know, I was just gone, you know, friends and other family members and things like that. It's like, oh, well, I guess that's the end of Jim. We'll never hear from him again. But it wasn't like that with my mom. And I feel like the relationship between a parent and a child, that unconditional love, like it's wild to think about. I don't think I'll ever know truly what that means because I'll never have children, you know? I feel like I have unconditional love. I do. But I don't know if I'll ever truly understand the power of it. You know, I've been blown away by it and I've been surprised by it and I've been awestruck by it. But unconditional love is a strange thing, you know, like, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. That's a problem with reacting to stuff like this and talking about it is like, I'm doing exactly what Noah's doing. I'm doing it exactly like Noah wants me to do it. I want to dissect, understand exactly what he's saying and pull my own experiences from it and really revel in the emotion of what is being said and how it applies to me and take lessons and embrace honesty and everything. But it can be difficult. It can be difficult to do, especially with like putting your words in order, making everything sound as coherent as possible. So I'm sorry for that, but this song kind of got me, you know. All I can say is it's a beautiful song. Somebody's trying to help you, help him. And it makes the fact that this relationship is over now too, like all that more impactful. You know, it's really painting that person in a positive light, and him knowing that he doesn't have that anymore is just an extra little thing. But at the end of the day, call your mom. Just call her. Call her, say you love her. That's it. Shoot the shit, whatever you need to do. I know we all get busy. We all get stuck in our own lives. We all, you know, we all got a million things to worry about, and just do it. Unconditional love is crazy, man. It's crazy, and it's not always going to be here, you know, and don't be like me. Don't fuck up for a while, you know. All right, let's see what's next. You're going to go far.
The only time I got to praying for a red light was when I saw your destination as a deadline. It's just normal conversation, babe, it's all fine. Making quiet calculations where the fall lies. It's as good a land, or at least it was. It takes a strong hand and a sound mind. The college kids are getting so young, ain't they? They're correcting all the grammar on a spray paint. And I even gave up driving after nightfall. I got tired of the frat boys with the brights on. It's as good a land, or at least it was. It takes a strong hand and a sound mind. It makes me smile to know when things get hard. Ooh, you'll be far. Ooh, you'll be far from here. And while I clean shit up in the yard, ooh, you'll be far. Ooh, you'll be far, far from here. Just pack up your car, put a hand in your heart, say whatever you feel, be wherever you are. We ain't angry at you, love. You're the greatest thing we've lost. The birds will still sing, folks will still fight, the boards will still creak, the leaves will still die. We ain't angry at you, love. We'll be waiting for you, love. And we'll all be here forever. And we'll all be here forever. Sure will. Overdue for a revival. We spent so long just getting by. That's the thing about survival. Who the hell likes living just to die? You told me you got drunk and shut you down. Won't be by your own volition. If you step foot outside this town, but it's all we've had for always. So pack up your car, put a hand in your heart, say whatever you feel, be wherever you are. We ain't angry at your love. You're the greatest thing we've lost. The birds are still sing, the folks are still fight, the porch still creak, the leaves still die. We ain't angry at your love. We'll be waiting for your love. But we'll all be here forever. And we'll all be here forever. You gotta go far. You gotta go far. You gotta go far. You gotta go far. Yes, you are. If you wanna go far, then you gotta go far.
Noah's always really had good balance. I think, I don't know about you guys, but I fucking needed that. A bit of a shift, right? A little bit of a shift. It's interesting as well, too, wondering like what perspective this is written in, because like part of me thought for a second he might be talking about the girl that broke up and her moving on and him just kind of being happy for her and all that stuff. And that could definitely be the case. But I think a lot of this is him actually getting to the point of doing what he's always wanted to do and just kind of get out and escape for a little while. And the people that do love him, supporting it because they love him. You know, they know this is what he's wanted for so long. They know how difficult this is for him. So they're very positive in this, saying, you know, we'll be here. The same things will be happening. The same wood will creak. You know, the same fights will be happening. This will always be here for you. You will always have home. But we understand how you need to get out. You need to escape. You are being suffocated, and you're having an issue getting out of this trap. And people are there supporting it. It could be that from the perspective of his loved ones inspiring him. It could also be from the perspective of him inspiring the girl that he was with after they broke up to leave as well. You know, and I don't know which one I truly believe or which angle I like better, because I think they're both beautiful. And I guess it's kind of up to interpretation. I kind of like the idea of him finally letting go of this person, you know, that he was spiraling out for so long about, and like making those embarrassing mistakes of like calling her like in the drunk tank and like, you know, like getting to this really low point, but getting to the point where he realized, I love you so much that like I'm okay with you just fulfilling your own prophecy, with doing your own thing. I want you to be happy above anything else. So I kind of like that angle, because we do know that she left. So it could be from that angle. And I kind of like that. But something tells me this is about him getting to that point of actually doing it and then finally having people celebrate the fact that he's doing what he's always wanted to do. Either way, it's a moment of levity that I definitely knew I needed, and I'm sure others did as well. Very well balanced so far. I mean, how many tracks do we have left of this thing? Oh, we're on to the last track. Okay, all right. All right, pretty wild, all right? I thought this was going to be a breeze. I'm like, all right, whatever, 8 tracks, 9 tracks, we'll bust right through this, you know? Talk about some sound design and lyrics. Call it a day. Oh, man. Now I know why I was kind of avoiding Noah Kahan for a little while. Not that it's bad or anything. It's just like it brings you to a place, man. You know, when people are this vivid in their writing, with this vivid with their story building and all that stuff, like you can't help but like try, like it's like when you read a book and they describe a room for you, and all of a sudden like you're picturing that room, and that room kind of looks like your room, you know what I mean? Or that house kind of looks like your old house, and like so it just pulls at you. And with so many like dramatic tension points in the music and in the subject matter and everything, it's hard not to kind of spiral with the person, you know what I mean? All right, let's move on to the next one, which I've actually heard before. Full transparency here, because The View Between Villages is the last track off of the traditional 14-track album. But people, I think I did the album reaction live. Yeah, I must have, because people said you need to hear the extended version. It puts a totally different spin on it. It's a much wilder climax to this whole thing. And honestly, I agreed. I liked this extended version a little bit more. I kind of forget it. I haven't heard it since the album reaction, so I want to check it out right now. It's been like, what, 5 months since I've done this? I'm sorry it's been so long. So I kind of forget it anyway, but let's see how it all ties together. I do remember really enjoying it, though. Or maybe I should go back and listen to the original. Go back. I don't know. We'll see. Let's just do this one first.
Air in my lungs till the road begins. As the last of the bugs leave their homes again, and I'm split in the road down the middle. For a minute the world seems so simple. Feel the rush of my blood, I'm 17 again. I am not scared of death, I've got dreams again. It's just me in the curve of the valley, and there is meaning on earth. I am happy. Past Algebrook Road, I'm over the bridge. A minute from home, but I feel so far from it. The depth of my dog, the scratch of my skin, it's all washing over me. I'm angry again. The things that I lost here, the people I knew, they got me surrounded for a mile or two. The car's in reverse, I'm gripping the wheel. I'm back between villages, and everything's still.
Well, for me personally,
Oh yeah.
I found the town big enough for anything that I want. I mean, I'm not a city girl by any means.
Trafford still has a lot of meaning to me because I grew up there. Well, I guess it's a small community of people that really look out for each other. And that's the same way with anybody that needs anything. It's this community is there to help.
Things that I lost here, the people I knew, they got me surrounded for a mile or two. Left at the graveyard, I'm driving past ghosts. Their arms are extended, my eyes start to close. The cars in reverse, I'm gripping the wheel. I'm back between villages, and everything's still.
That's right. Okay, so I was like slowly remembering that as it was going on. And also, I want to retract something that I said in the previous song reaction. You're Gonna Go Far probably isn't about, if we're thinking like the cohesive nature of where these 8 tracks are and how they fit into the rest of the album and everything. I'm assuming that's him actually leaving, because it truly feels like this is the momentum of him actually taking that shift and taking the next step in his life and moving on. And that's where it really kind of comes like, it feels more like a book or a movie or something. Like it feels like we're going on an adventure together, you know, like he's finally, well, I mean, this is the precipice of the entirety of the epilogue of the entirety of what this album is. This is about escaping your own prison, getting out of your own way. And in one way, shape, or form, like that's what all these songs talk about. That's what they're all alluding to. Like he's been trapped, but he's been his own captor, you know, and that's what all these songs talk about. It talks about why he's his own captor, like what's holding him in those positions, like how like the symbols of like the death of his dog and like the characters of the town itself kind of coming alive and why he feels tied to it. And like, that's what all this is about. It's his exact experience and coping with the idea of him being his own captor. Like that's the whole thing. So I feel like You're Gonna Go Far, moving on to the View Between Villages, is like, that's the next step. That's the finally people come together and saying, finally, you took that key out of your pocket and you released yourself from that cell and you were on your way. And that's what makes me so excited. And I believe I probably said this before at the end of the reaction, is like for like Noah Kahan's, I don't want to say second chapter, because the 6 seasons, this right here, this entire album feels like it's a 15 chapter book. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm excited to see what Noah Kahan's 16th chapter is all about. Like, where does he go from here? What's the story? What does he have to say? Like, I'm assuming he's got something else in the works. This album came out in 2003. So I don't know. We're 2 years behind at this point. So we'll see. I don't know his schedule or anything. He's got a bunch of stuff down here too. Maybe at some point I'll check out some more of his other stuff. But I gotta be fucking ready, man. I'll just tell you that. I'll just tell you that, because it's a heavy album. But let's talk mostly about the We'll Be Here Forever and where this all kind of ties in, and I guess my general thoughts about all of it. So your needs, my needs, kind of reaffirming the devastation of the relationship ending, but also seeing some perspective in it, saying, well, maybe we just weren't right for each other at that time. You know what I mean? Like, it's your needs versus my needs, and maybe we weren't seeing each other's needs, and like, I don't know, the problems that go into that. Like, that's something we all do, you know? I don't know about you. Sometimes I do that. You get selfish, like in relationships. You're like, well, I wanted to do this or whatever. And you're like, your thoughts aren't, I don't know, like maybe it doesn't feel as valid because you want something so much. But like, once you learn to think outside of yourself and in the perspective of somebody else's needs, and then meeting those needs every single time, then like 99.9% of the time, your needs just always get met. You know what I mean? That's something that took me fucking decades to learn, you know, not being egotistical or like selfish and things like that. But like, if you just talk in those terms, if you just think in those terms, if you believe in those terms and execute in those terms, like, you're going to get everything you want anyway, you know, eventually. Maybe not right away. You might not have like whatever, but like everything you've ever wanted is going to come true if you just talk in those terms. There's a cool book that I I recommend to people in sales, and it's actually kind of like a psychological book. It's a weird one. I've read it like 3 times. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People, which I know sounds kind of culty and kind of weird or whatever, but it's an old sales book. Dale Carnegie, I think, wrote it. It's like back from like the early 19th century or something. It's from a while ago. But it's a sales book, and it talks about the psychology of just people. And I remember reading that like as a teenager, and I'm like, well, shit, this is making a lot of sense. It basically, if you follow those steps and everything, like you start to realize like this is the way to do it anyway. This like being selfish about things is just not the way to go, and like it leaves you alone, and it leaves you jaded and everything. And it's something you have to kind of practice. I might read that book again, honestly. It's more psychologically driven than I thought it was going to be. Anyway, Dial Drunk, the rock bottom, but it really shows the devastation of, even though he's in a bad place, like all he really wanted was that person back. Paul Revere, the celebration of escape, the want, the knowing that you need to escape the suffocation, but knowing in the back of your mind, like sitting there in the car with the car idling and be like, who are you kidding? You'll never leave if you haven't done it by now, No complaints. God damn it. God damn it. Kind of went on a weird drug kick there for a while. Sorry about that. Call Your Mom. That song fucking broke me. Then You're Gonna Go Far, the celebration of it all, and The View Between Villages with, I believe, his grandmother doing some voiceover there talking about the town itself. It's this album's a lot of things. It's a celebration of New England. It's a love letter to New England, I think people told me, which is great because that's my neck of the woods. But it's also a lot of other things. It's also a lot about love. It's also an introspective look inward. It's also a dark look inward. But it's also beautiful. I love the execution on it. Sometimes folky albums can be not boring, but like it can be hard to sink your teeth into or really get excited about because they tend to follow a lot of the same rhythmic structures and melodic structures and, just construction in general. But there was a lot of highs and lows in this, and sonically it was dramatic when it needed to be dramatic, and it was quiet and thoughtful when it needed to be, and it didn't feel just like wildly shifting dramatics for just being shifting dramatics. Like it felt like there was some real heart and soul into it, like there was almost like a certain sweetness or innocence to like the approach of it all. He had difficulties painting people in bad light. He had difficulties like saying bad things about the bad places that he was in. He always kind of found a positive way to think about it. Like, I don't know who this guy is, but I mean, this album feels honest. And if he's anything like the things that he's writing about, then like he just seems like a good dude to me. And I'm sorry his dog died. That's fucked up. Anyway, that is gonna do it for me, I guess. I think the next thing I had to do, let's do some live stuff. All right. I can get out of my own head. We can just enjoy the fidelity of it all. Let's see his projections. Let's see what the crowd's like. Let's see what the shows are like. Let's see what the band's like. Let's just get a feel for like a start to a finish of a good live show. So I'm going to ask you guys, can you recommend a good concert for me to watch? I'll tell you what, if you guys recommend links to me and I get suggestions for it, I'll post a reaction to the whole thing and we'll talk about it from, I don't know, a production standpoint or whatever. I don't know if I want to dive into lyrics again, but like we'll do that. But I think that's going to do it for me. And thank you so much for watching. And sorry this took so long for me to do, but I'll see you on the next one with the, I guess, live reactions. Bye, guys.